All right, we are live. How's it going, everyone? If you are wanting to listen to the Eagles draft talk, you are in the right place. Um, my name is Brendan Walker. I'm joined here by Brian McDevitt. We are both
Hello.
uh, Eagle analysts for Pro Football Spot, and we're here to talk about the Eagles draft.
Yes,
So,
we are. A lot of things been going on, especially first off, I want to start off the big trade. Eagles now have the number 2 overall pick. Brendan, what do you think about that? You think they gave up too much? Think it was the right move?
Brian, listen, man. To be honest, for myself, I was happy at number 8. I was perfectly fine.
No, so was I. I mean, I was thinking, you know what, right there, they can attack a position they really need, maybe build up on the offensive line with Ronnie Stanley or Jack Conklin if Stanley's off the board by then. Maybe take Vernon Hargraves, address the corner issue because Nolan Carroll's only going to be around for a year and Eric Rowe is still developing. It'd be nice to build up a young tandem of cornerbacks, help build us up for the future, especially going against the division with guys on Jackson, Desbron Beckham Jr., of course. Or maybe even pick up Ezekiel Elliott. Ryan Matthews has some issues with staying on the field health wise. And Darren Sproles, who's only getting up there in age. And Kenyon Barner is still a question mark. But I mean, hey, if they feel like the best thing to do with this draft is go up and try to get that QB for the future, then who am I to question it, right?
Yeah, moving up it seems like to get quarterback, either Jared Goff or Carson Wentz is the
It's going to be
right.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I think so too. But just the quarterback in general, the position, I believe their mind was already set. They want the quarterback for the future, like you said. So I guess they didn't see the dire need to draft any other position. I mean, the quarterback is, undoubtedly the most important position on a team, but I would say that the quarterback that they wanted, it to me that it could have been found somewhere else.
I mean, I think so. I mean, there, of course, it's Carson Wentz and Jared Goff and Paxton Lynch is like the big guys, but you still got like Dak Prescott, you've got Christian Hackenberg, you've got Connor Cook, all of them great in their own respects, which you can find probably in the second. Well, like the Eagles don't have a second round pick, but in the third round of the draft, one of those guys could very well be there, and if they wanted to attack there, maybe so. And also, one thing that I've always preached is that if Sam Bradford is not the answer, then likely his performance will reflect on the Eagles' record enough so that next year we would be in place to make a move to go up and get Deshaun Watson, who's viewed as the number 1 quarterback in the 2017 draft. Now, of course, I know in theory, that could have been a scenario.
Yeah, I know you wrote an article about getting a Vernon.
Vernon Hargraves, yeah, he was my guy.
The cornerback. That position to me was the most needed. We have running backs serviceable. I know Ryan Matthews is injury prone. We have linemen sort of. We got through free agency. But yeah, like you said, Carroll 1 year, Eric Rowe developing. That seemed like the place that needed the most help in terms of both of our views.
Now, I mean, I've always had, once we made the trade, I had the thought in the back of my head, and some people I'd actually talked to I thought, maybe it's a trade up for Jalen Ramsey. Who knows? But I
Yeah,
mean, looking at what they gave up, they're going to go quarterback. Howie Roseman already came out and said, we're taking a quarterback. That's the move you make when you give up that much. I mean, would I rather Jalen Ramsey? Maybe, but I mean, hey, if Carson Wentz is going to be that guy or Jared Goff is going to be that guy, then I think that's what they have their heart set on.
yeah, and we're gonna have to, as fans, we're just gonna have to stick with it because we can't do anything about it. We just kind of have to roll with it.
Sit there, cheer them when they're doing good, boo them when they're doing bad. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Especially in the quarterback, they make a mistake, they get all the hate.
Mm-hmm. I mean, let's look back at that price that they gave up for it. They gave they swapped the picks. They gave up a third. They gave rounders. They gave up a fourth rounder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then the first for next year and the second in 2018. I mean, that's a steep price, especially this year.
It seems like Brian has left the chat, guys. Hopefully, we can re-invite him here real quick. Basically, he was talking about the huge number of picks that we gave up to basically Cleveland, who wanted to trade down. So I'm inviting him now. But yeah, basically, we traded a whole bunch of picks just to get up to the number 2 spot when we had already traded from the 13 to the 8. So in that regards, giving up basically picks are like a team's future. So if you're giving up 8, 7, 6, even 5, that's 5's a lot of picks just to trade up. Those are 5 players that could potentially benefit a franchise's future. So basically, the summary of that is we gave up a lot, and it could harm us immensely in the future. My comrade Brian is still not available. He has left me. Trying to bring the man back. In terms of talent-wise, I would say Carson Wentz is the most talented quarterback in this year's draft. Seeing him on tape, he is phenomenal when he's mobile. I believe he has a highlight where he trucks a defender. And you would think that the quarterback, they're essential to the franchise's success, so you don't want him getting hurt. But with Wentz, he just seems to have the drive to go out and make plays like that. And it kind of gets you fired up as a team to see that your quarterback can take risks, but hopefully not too many.
All right, sorry about that. Little technical difficulties. Where were we?
I was just talking to them while you were gone, just about Carson Wentz's profile, about how he's just a success-driven quarterback and basically how he's mobile and how he could benefit the team. But we were talking about how the picks we gave up to Cleveland.
Right. I mean, just looking at this draft, we already don't have a second-round pick, as I was saying before, and now we lose one of our thirds. We lose that 4th. I mean, what do we have in this draft now? I mean, great, we're going to get our quarterback at the first round, but we're going to have no depth in this draft class after that, the way I see it, unless we can find, like, a gem in the rough, like another, like, Jason Kelce in the 7th round or Benny Logan in the 3rd.
Right.
Which I mean, again, like, it's usually a gamble. Is it not?
Yeah, it's possible, right? Like you said, to get the gem, but I said, while you were gone, I said that we gave up so much in the middle that it potentially could hurt our franchise's future because of those picks missing. Each pick is possibly the next Calvin Johnson, possibly the next Aaron Rodgers. Like, you never know. It's just like, it is a gamble what you take, but you're missing out on a chance. So with the trade that happened, giving up that many picks, Howie Roseman, he believes this guy is the future, just because if you give up that many picks just to get him, then that's the amount of potential he sees.
Right. I mean, one thing I found interesting, just to err on the side of caution here, last time the Eagles did not have a first round pick like will be the case next year was in the 2007 draft. That year they traded back into the 2nd round because they wanted to take Kevin Cobb out of the University of Houston, and they thought that he would be the quarterback of the future. So similar scenario. Don't have a first-round pick because we wanted that quarterback of the future. That year, we wound up finishing 8-8, dead last in the division. I mean, I don't want history to repeat itself,
Right.
but I just don't know why. I mean, trading up for that high, you've got to get rid of that net pick for next year. That's what they want. You're not trading up in the first round without losing a first rounder. But
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, and now it's like since we traded those first rounds for next year, it's going to be rough trying to get that back unless something stupendous happens where we trade a player for a first round pick.
mm, trade rumors. I actually have heard. I heard somewhere today that Darren Sproles he could be looked at as a guy who was traded away on draft day. What are your thoughts on that?
Darren, um, like, I love him being in Philadelphia. I think it's great because he's mismatched against so many like slow linebackers.
Absolutely.
That's my favorite part about it. But I can see why he would be traded. He's in his old age. He's been here what, 15 years?
I mean, not with Philly, but in the league, he's
Not with
been,
Philly,
I'd
but
say,
yeah,
close to 10, I'd say, if not
very
more than
yeah. He's
10.
been here a long time. 15. I don't know why I said 15. But yeah, he's been here so long. He's a veteran. He could be traded just because of that. His productivity could go down. I haven't seen it though. We've seen him still be making plays against in punt return touchdowns and all that stuff. So I don't see him slowing down. But
I mean, the way I see it, you've got to look. We have the best punt returner in the NFL in Darren Sproles. Even in his early 30s, he's still one of the best punt returners in the game, if not the best punt returner in the game. I don't see why you would look to get rid of a guy like that unless you're going to get something incredible for him. Now, I mean, in his age, he's probably only worth like I'll say a fifth round pick possibly. But what do you think we could get for him if we trade him away? Or what do you want from him? What do you
uh,
want for him if we trade him away?
if I was to trade Darren Sproles, I would need a position filler because we're already slim at running back. It would be Ryan Matthews and then I think Kenyon Barner.
It would be Kenyon Barner after that, correct?
So somehow we would need to get another running back in, and that would be weird just to trade running back for running back, but it would be basically we need to get a running back or we trade for like I would say a fourth. We would push for a fourth and then try and get a running back there.
Honestly, I think that the Eagles could try to take a running back as early as that third round pick.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm considering Ezekiel Elliott is out of the picture with us taking Carson Wentz. I think it's kind of a not necessity but priority definitely in this year's draft.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so we're gonna move on to a different segment where we talk about our articles that we've written and our diagnosis about who the best late, middle, and top round picks were in the past 5 years, because that's when I think football, like we're writing about it now, that's when we're most involved and intense with it, getting super into it. But where do you want to start, Brian?
Let's start from the bottom, work our way up. Let's start with your article, Jason Kelce, 7th round pick out of Cincinnati, and he turned out to be much more than a 7th round pick usually produces. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong in that aspect, no. But I believe though he's 6th round.
6th round. My apologies.
It's okay. Regardless, he was in the later rounds. No one wanted him. But no, you're not wrong. He turned out to me one of the greatest centers I've ever seen play the game, especially for Philadelphia, which was a run-based team when LaShawn McCoy was here.
Absolutely. Struggled a bit this year, but I put that more on the people he had next to him. It wasn't exactly as strong, and Allen Barbery, and I think it was Dennis Kelly on the other side of him. It's not your ideal group of guards.
Yeah, it's if you don't have like a name you don't know their name or if their name isn't ringing a bell, it's not they're not too helpful to him. So yeah, he was literally surrounded by mediocrity, serviceable people. Yeah, but Jason Kelce, 5 years ago exactly, 2011, worked his way up. Basically started, got injured, had a good year, got a little off. It's been back and forth, but would you agree that his best year was in 2013 when LeSean McCoy got the rushing title in Philadelphia?
Oh, absolutely. And I think Jason Kelce had a huge part to do with LeSean McCoy getting the rushing title. If I'm not mistaken, Jason Kelce wound up being a Pro Bowler that year, rightfully so.
Yeah.
He was one of the best centers in the league that year, if not the best center in the league that year. I know Pro Football Focus gave him a really good grade on that. I don't remember exactly where they graded him, but he got honors that year. And I think right now that's his peak. He declined a little. He didn't exactly match in 2014, but still a good season. Dipped down in performance a little bit this year, and hopefully next year bounces back.
Yeah, I think he will bounce back this next season, especially with the new guards in place. I'm so excited. Brandon Brooks from the Texans. He is my favorite acquisition this offseason. My favorite.
Absolutely. I mean, if you follow him on social media, he has been Mr. Philadelphia ever since he's been signed. He's been hitting up every spot in the city. Yeah. He's been rooting on the Flyers during this playoff push. I think they're actually playing right now against the Caps. Don't know the score off the top of my head, trying to force Game 7. But yeah, Brandon Brooks, he's got team spirit, and the fans go crazy over that. And if he can perform the way he did in Houston, I think he'll be a fan favorite instantly.
Yeah, I believe it. I follow him on Twitter, and it's just seeing everything that he's doing basically in Philadelphia. He's like trying to get intact with the culture, the everything, just trying to get in base, and it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting. And who's the left guard? Who did you say was the left guard? I can't think of his name.
I projected Stefan Wisniewski to get the other guard spot, although looking at his salary, he might be a backup center. I'd like to see him step into guard, but who knows? Maybe Barbery can beat him out in training camp. We'll see what happens.
Right. He came from the Jags. Was he the starting center there?
I believe he was. Yes, I think he dabbled a bit at guard in Oakland, where he was drafted.
Sweet. Well, yeah, I'm excited, regardless of the offensive line. Now that we have at least a better guard look than last year.
Agreed. Should be much better than last year. Well, another point about the offensive line to point out, Jason Peters. What is his season going to be like this year?
Oh, man. He was – I hate using the past tense. He was elite. He was literally the Mr. Protector. Nobody got past him on the blind side. A little rough now these past 2 years, I would say, with the penalties and the holding. Age has a little bit gotten to him, I would say, but he's still pretty good. He's very agile for his age, so it helps out.
Right. I think the biggest thing to mention about Jason Peters in the year 2016 is injuries. Missed time with injury last year, missed time with injury the year before that, I believe. He has a record with injuries late in his career, and who knows what will happen in 2016. Will he play 16 games? Honestly, I don't have a very good feeling that he will. And if that's the case, is 2017 offseason going to be the year that the Eagles and Jason Peters part ways and they move Lane Johnson over to left tackle permanently?
It's a sad thought because he's been there for so long in that position. I think what'll happen is if he doesn't stay healthy, doesn't play at least 12 games, and if he's not there for the whole time and they see that he's declining and some guy can step up and replace him, I think I think he'll know that it's time to retire.
I mean, I hope so. I hate seeing guys who are past their prime, obviously not going to get much more done as far as productivity goes, and still trying to like stick it out and push for that longer NFL career. Like, it pains me. I feel like it kind of like takes away from their legacy in a sense.
Yeah, especially when like the accolades, like what he's earned and stuff. Like he's earned Pro Bowl honors, he's earned honors and stuff. But like the people you see who've worked hard, they want to keep pushing on to try and win something. You know, it's obviously it's sad for us. You know, no Super Bowl, no ring, but it is what it is. He's been a good left tackle, and you know many analysts have said he's one of the best left tackles ever in this generation.
I'd agree with that. He's been great with Philadelphia. He was even great in Buffalo before we got our hands on him. He's a modern day legend on the offensive line. Bold claim, but I'll say it.
Yeah, I agree. Jason Peters is one of my favorite offensive linemen to watch, and of course the bias is there because Eagles. But honestly, like he does what he does. It's his work.
He's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, we kind of just sort of. What's up?
Nothing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we kind of drifted a little off topic from Jason Kelce. Any more you want to add on him?
Yeah. No, Kelce. He just needs to keep doing his thing because of the help that he has. It's going to be tremendously beneficial to his work ethic in the next season. I'm getting his jersey as a side note.
I like it. It might be a smart buy. Not many Eagles jerseys are in this day and age.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's go on to the best mid-round pick, and I believe you wrote the article on this.
Yes, I
talk
did.
about it a little bit.
So best mid-round pick. See, the mid-round picks, it's always been a struggle for the Eagles. Like you look at some of the recent like picks from like third to fifth round, you see names like Riley Cooper, Andrew Valdeverde, Curtis Marsh, just names that you want to forget about as an Eagles fan, like names that have brought nothing. Ooh, and another big one, Casey Matthews was a mid-round pick. And Casey Matthews might be one of the most infamous Eagles, aside from maybe Riley Cooper. I'll say most infamous defensive Eagle in the past so and so many years.
Yeah.
So mid-round pick, I think that the best one they've had in the past 5 years, third-round pick out of LSU, Benny Logan.
Benny Logan. Yeah.
Benny Logan, yeah.
Force on the line. Talk about him a little bit.
All right. When you think of Benny Logan, I think the strongest point of him is he stops the run. He's one of the best run stuffers in the league. Pro Football Focus actually ranked him as a top 10 run stuffer the past 2 years, and he's only getting started. He was drafted in 2013, so this was his third year in the league this past year, and he had the best season of his career so far. And I think that now in a 4-3 defense, which is more similar to the one he ran at Louisiana State, he's going to have a lot more success right alongside Fletcher Cox. It's going to be a dominant in the middle.
Yeah, I think I commented on your article, you know, that front, just the front four itself. Cox will move into a that I wouldn't say he's the most talented because that's going to be Fletcher Cox, but I would say he's definitely like the Rock. He's like you said, run stuffing Rock. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. He's the reason why. Okay, I know the Eagles' run defense was anemic last year, but I mean, believe it or not, in the first few games, the Eagles were considered one of the best run defenses in the league. I don't know what happened. Maybe Chip Kelly's offense tired them out too much, and I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case. But nobody could run against the Philadelphia Eagles, and that was because of Benny Logan, especially up the middle.
Yeah, the middle is our strong zone there with Benny there. He's just like a brute force. He just doesn't let anything past him.
He is.
It's going to be interesting. I want to just really quickly, you said Chip Kelly's offense. I actually do believe that that's what happened, is that the defense is just so tired.
Absolutely. I mean, I mean, when you have your defense out there on the field for so long, you know you're going to get tired. And the offense trying to get off the field as fast as possible, like, listen, I know you get it. You want to score, but the defense is getting tired out. They're getting beat up, banged up. Injuries plagued the defense all season with D'Amico Ryans missing time, Jordan Hicks getting knocked out for the season prematurely, which I think was the biggest loss for the defense
Hmm.
this season. Losing Byron Maxwell for a period of time, Nolan Carroll's season ending prematurely, and even Benny Logan, his season ended 2 or 3 games early. He went down in Arizona, and he never played another snap that year.
Yeah, just injury-prone defense. I'd say this past season was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, looking into it this year, we have a new defensive regime under Jim Schwartz, one of the best defensive coordinators in football in recent years, and a new offense under Doug Peterson and Frank Reich, which is going to be much more similar to that Andy Reid style of offense that has brought the Eagles success for an entire decade almost. So hopefully things are looking up in that regard, especially for the defense to return to a period where, the defense is unstoppable, like back in the days of Lito Shepard and Brian Dawkins and Sheldon Brown, where
Right.
nobody wanted to play the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I'm hoping with Malcolm Safety, Rodney McLeod, Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan, Jordan Hicks, that this can be a defense that people are scared to go up against again.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I want this defense to succeed. I'm tired of seeing our defense be like bottom half, bottom four.
Believe me, we all are.
It's rough. But I think we're gonna move on to Regina's article, who unfortunately she can't make it with us today. She is packing, ready to go to Spain. So
Just gonna have a great time there. Miss you,
Yeah.
Regina.
We're going to talk about her article real quick, the top rounds, and we're going to stick with the defense. We're going to talk about the man, Fletcher Cox.
The man, the myth, the legend. The best defensive player we have on the team right now, aside from maybe Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah.
Fletcher Cox is a beast. I was actually watching NFL Network yesterday. They were showing all the old drafts over again, I guess, in anticipation of this year's draft. And I happened to watch when they traded up with Seattle to number 12 to get Fletcher Cox. Nobody thought he'd be on the board then. People thought he was going to go top 10, but for some reason or another, he fell, and the Eagles saw the opportunity, jumped it, got him, and hey, it's worked out so far, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's been a tremendous success in our defense. Even when the scheme hasn't really fit, when we don't have all the pieces put together, he still thrives. And I feel like he's very, very, very underrated, because you talk about all the defensive ends who are like elite. He's never really brought up in the conversation, I would say. I mean, he got snubbed several times for the Pro Bowl.
Finally got it this year.
Finally got it this year. Yep. And he's just – and well-deserved. I mean,
well-deserved indeed.
I'm looking at what Regina said. He made the all-rookie team, led the Eagles with sacks. God, he's just like a sack monster. And yeah, this past year was one of the best years in Philadelphia. 9.5 sacks, 104 tackles. It's ridiculous to say he's not in the top tier of defensive ends.
Oh, he absolutely is. But keep in mind, he's not going to be a defensive end anymore. Jim Schwartz's new scheme, he's going back to D tackle, which he can be even better there than he was at D end, because D tackle was his natural position.
Right. Yeah, he wasn't like as fast. He was more like a power, trying to get past guards and maybe centers in the 3 technique. But he basically, yeah, he was more of like the power guy. So putting him at D end, I mean, he still thrived, but like you said, yeah, in the tackle position, he could do so much more.
I mean, that's where he played in Mississippi State, where he got his first-round reputation, and that's where he played the first year he was with Philadelphia when we still had the 4-3 scheme. Granted, I know that was the 4-12 year, which we all like to forget happened, but
yeah.
Yeah, he still did well. Many people I talked to that year said that they thought Fletcher Cox would be the biggest bust of that year, and boy, were they wrong.
Yeah, he definitely proved all the haters wrong. He's been there. He's been the guy in the front seven, I would say.
Absolutely. No, I don't want to say no one else even comes close. I don't want to disrespect the rest of them. It's a great group they've got up front, but he's the anchor. He really is.
Yeah, just him being on the field, I feel is just the next, like, it makes everybody else around him better. I feel he's just there. They see the success that he has. They want to be like him. You know, it all fits together. They want to work together. May not show on the stat line, but the heart, the work ethic is there.
Exactly. I'm excited for that front seven. You've got Benny Logan and Fletcher Cox in the middle. Back at linebacker, you got Michael Kendricks, Jordan Hicks, and then Nigel Bradham. I know he had a down year last year in Buffalo, but I think back in Jim Schwartz's system, he can really bounce back. And then at the defensive ends, you got Vinny Curry, Connor Barwin, and Brandon Graham, whichever two of those three winds up starting. And even then, you've got another great guy who can rotate in. I mean, doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, not really. I'm really excited to see the front seven this season. Yeah, I know every season's always like, oh, this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. I just still have faith. I'm just want to see it play it out. You know, with the new defensive scheme, Jim Shorts. You know, I just want to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I'm a little cautious about with Jim Schwartz's scheme, however, is he loves the wide nine. I don't know if you remember when the Eagles used the wide nine most recently, but it wasn't pretty.
No,
the you think it'll work out this time around?
I can hope. I can cross my fingers and hope. Jim Shorts, I'll just have to see what you do, man, because my trust is in you.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he does well. I think he'll do well. I have confidence in him, but we've got a few more months to see whether it will pan out.
Yeah. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely looking forward to it.
Yeah, so we have covered all of the best draft picks, last, middle, and top rounds. And we've also talked about the transitions in the draft. So is there any last topic do you think we need to talk about, Brian?
Any last topic? Wide receiver. The Redskins just signed Josh Norman. Now, yes. Do you think the Eagles make any moves at wide receiver before the season starts?
If I want to be completely honest, I want to say no, because they've already signed Chris Givens. And there's
Ruben Randall?
Yeah, Ruben Randall. So we have 5. We have Jordan Matthews. We got Nelson Aguilar. We got Josh Huff. We have Chris Givens. And we have Ruben Randall. There's 5 right there. Is there another one out there to seek for trade? Do you think we have more picks to trade and see if we can get another wide receiver?
Hey, I don't like the idea of throwing picks out there. Maybe if we could package something with, I hate to say it, but I mentioned it earlier, Darren Sproles, or someone else. Maybe we can get something. I don't know. I think it's unlikely, but I think it's interesting to put out there because the way I see it, Josh Norman shuts down Jordan Matthews easily.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like it's not like he doesn't play man, but Josh Norman is a zone, like he fits in zone schemes. But you're right, like Josh Norman, his skill level right now, at least of right now, we don't know how he's going to fit in Washington. But yeah, if he takes out Jordan Matthews, you know, he's our best wide receiver. Who else is going to do the work?
That's been Nelson Aguilar, who finally has to step up and try to be that dominant receiver. I mean, last year I feel like he wasn't used properly. He's supposed to be I view him as a Deshaun Jackson-esque deep threat. Maybe even maybe more similar to Jeremy Maclin to Deshaun Jackson, but he's if Jeremy Maclin was more of a deep threat, I guess, which I mean, not to say he's not, but long story short, he was misused last season. And I think that if he's used correctly this season, he can really surprise a bunch of people.
Yeah, I think when they compared him, well, before we drafted him, he was compared to as a Jeremy Maclin size-esque person. He fit that thing, but his speed, right, which is what most people looked at, deep threat, running streaks, all the time. He can still do that, but yeah, he needs to be used in a better way to get more success, basically, with the team.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. We're going to wrap it up here?
Yeah, you think that's good? I think we talked about everything Eagles draft so far and in the past with a little bit of wide receiver talk. I think we're good.
We are. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Hope you guys have a good day. Go Eagles.
Thank you all. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Catch you later.